Is as the sin of witchcraft.
Yeah, and as you see, the characteristic of Saul, and that we was just talking about this the other day on him, it's like now everything was obscured in Saul's sight. He was looking at things different. This is what it means. The same brother, the same righteousness that was done, now you're obscured. Because that's what rebelliousness does to you. It obscures your judgment. It obscures your outlook. And now you start dealing with things incorrectly. Go ahead.
And stubbornness is as iniquity.
Yeah, and stubbornness is as iniquity. Right. So you see that? And then the other one was in first. You're being stubborn when you're corrected. You're being stubborn when you're told that that was wrong. You get that?
Prophesied, you know, by the most when Israel was talking about they wanted a king, and he told the king.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like now, like
warped. That's why it says to the pure all things are pure, but him that is defiled, nothing is pure because his conscience is defiled. So you're out. He didn't have what's this? Oh, we're off.
We just but the comments just went away.
Do the reading. We're gonna go into the reading, and then from there we'll go ahead. We'll do it like that. 12 and 1. That's cool.
Oh,
yeah, Leviticus 12 and 1. So, you would come.
Carlos Shabbatashaw, Ban Yanyam, Ban Yasharala.
Carlos Shabbatashaw Ban Yam Ban Yasha'ala.
Yahweh by Yasham, Yahweh Shai Barakatha.
How about Shimon?
Notes.
Good.
Y'all chilling, take good notes. Leviticus 12 and 1, and he's going to read to Leviticus 30.
Leviticus 12 and 1. Unclean 7 days. According to the days of the separation for her infirmity shall she be unclean. And in the 8th day of the flesh.
A man-child, then he shall be unclean 7 days. So it was a tradition in Israel. Okay?
good.
That was in the law. So you write that down. On the 8th day, you were to be circumcised. And it's in Leviticus 12 and 1. Y'all kids, so.
And 4. And she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 3 and 30 days.
Right, so 30 days, you weren't supposed to lay back with her. You were supposed to be, let her body, you were supposed to be separate. 40 days. Go ahead.
Her purifying be fulfilled. But if she bear a maid child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her separation, and she shall continue in the blood of her in 6 days.
So a score is 20, 3 scores 60, 66 days plus. So if she has a man child, it's 40 days. She's supposed to be separate. If she has a woman child, it's supposed to be 80 days. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Leviticus 12 and 6. And when the days of her purifying are fulfilled for a son or for a daughter, she shall bring a lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, and a young pigeon or a turtle dove for a sin offering unto the door of the tabernacle from the issue of her blood. This is the law for her that had born a male or female. And if she be not able to bring a lamb, then she shall bring 2 turtles or 2 young pigeons spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, when a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons the priest. And the priest...
Right, so now the 13th chapter of Leviticus Bible, you know what I mean? These are the things, you know, what a lot of you ever see those people that they be dark, but then they have patches on their body? That's leprosy. Okay? But nowadays, they call that vitiligo. In there, he's a full leper. Meaning that he lost all his skin pigment. You see that? Okay, that's a full leper. But it's not contagious.
Right.
He's not contagious. Right? So this is going to walk through what leprosy is. And you get little blotches in your skin. It looks like you got bleach poured on you. And then it can consume your whole body. It can consume your whole body. So remember, vitiligo today is what leprosy is. I think they say cat. So this is what leprosy is. Go ahead.
And the priest shall look on him and pronounce him unclean.
Yeah, so why? Because now it's kind of deep in the skin and it's flaring up. So this plague of leprosy now, it's real deep. So you got different types also of leprosy, right? Contagious and non-contagious.
If the bright spot be white in the skin of, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days more. And the priest shall look on him again the 7th day.
To make sure this wasn't going to be contagious and everybody wasn't going to be getting this plague.
God.
Y'all see that?
God.
Go ahead.
Leviticus 13 precept. It is but a scab, and he shall wash his clothes, seen of the priest. For his cleansing he shall be seen of the priest again. And if the priest see that, behold, the scab spread in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprosy.
Y'all see this? Go ahead.
When the plague of leprosy is in a man, then he shall be brought unto the priest. And the priest shall see him raw flesh in the rising, not shut him up, for he is unclean. And if a leprosy break out abroad in the however the priest looked, then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that had the plague. It is all turned white, he is unclean. I mean, he is clean.
Right, so basically it looks like a scab, right? Yeah, your hair is red, right? You got leprosy in the hair, right? Is it red or blonde?
Yellow.
It's yellow, right? Yeah, it's like blondish. Yeah, we call it blonde. And double leprosy. Go ahead.
Leviticus 13:14. But when the raw flesh appear in him, he shall be unclean. And the priest shall see the raw flesh, and pronounce to the priest. And the priest shall see him. And behold, if the plague white and somewhat reddish, and it be showed to the priest. And if, when the priest see it,
so we can understand what happened, and then give me the one about Miriam also. This is a skin disorder. That's this miracle. And this is how we know Moses was black. Because it wouldn't be a miracle for him to be. He's already dark skinned. Where's the miracle? Yeah. Now, if I would turn this brother's color, right, then you'd be like, miracle, right?
So, get out. Behold, it was leprous as snow.
It was leprous as well. He puts his hand in his bosom, and he takes it out. Eateth. Right? That's the miracle. Right? Oh, this shows you that leprosy was a person being white.
God.
Being a white person. That's what leprosy is. No skin pigment. So the white people have
put his hand into his bosom again.
Right.
And plucked it out of his bosom.
Right.
And behold.
It be dark skin for that to be a real miracle. 12:1.
And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle.
Well, here's what happened. She was Miriam was getting disgruntled because Moses had an Ethiopian wife. So once again, she was speaking on things that it wasn't in her place. You know, the Most High had let that go with Moses. It wasn't in her place. It was if the Most High wanted to check it, he would have checked it. Go ahead.
God. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow.
So now what are we learning about leprosy?
It's a curse.
It's a curse. It's a plague, which is a curse, right? But that curse is being what?
White as snow.
Being white as snow. Not having skin pigment is a curse. No, not like us, like light-skinned brothers, or you know what I mean. Our people is light-skinned. You know, we're talking about straight up white people. It's a curse. You know what I mean? That's why they try to tan themselves. You know what I mean? And then they get skin cancer. Why? Because not having skin pigment, you can't go in the sun, right? You have a lack of this thing that helps you with diseases, ailments, right? That's why being dark skinned is a blessing. It's a blessing.
Good.
You understand that?
Good.
And you got to tell the kids that, because America makes them think that, oh, being dark skinned, right, being a black or a so-called Hispanic, now that's the curse. Your skin is not your sin. That sin was not having skin pigment. So the darker skin, you know, he had to be light skinned, red bone, right? My color, you know, the brother Ron's color. So y'all get that, right? Go ahead, Leon.
Yes. My Lord, I beseech thee, lay not this sin upon us, wherein we have done.
But as what?
As one dead.
So leprosy makes you look like you're what?
As one dead.
You know, Casper the Friendly Ghost?
As one dead.
Exactly. White people look like they have no melanin. It's the darkness in your skin. Go ahead.
Con, of whom the flood.
And rip your knee up.
Con.
That's how white people look. To the white meat. Go ahead.
Con, as one consumed.
With no skin pigment. Go ahead.
Out of his mother's womb.
Right. That's referring back to Genesis 25:25. Esau came out red, right? And that's why they called him Aishah, which is wasted away is. All right. Children, y'all get that? Con? Go ahead.
Leviticus 12:21. But if the priest look on it, and behold, there be no white hair.
Jeremiah? Okay.
Jeremiah, Sabbath Show, Yehuda, Yehovah Shem Yahweh Shai Barakathon,
Yehovah Shem Yahweh Shai Barakathon. All right, you're at 21. You're gonna read Leviticus 13:21 down to Leviticus 13.
Leviticus chapter 13 and verse 21. But if the priest look on it, and behold, there be no white hairs therein, and if it be not lower than the skin, but somewhat dark, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. And if it spread much in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. Or if there be any flesh in the skin, whereof there is a hot burning, then the priest shall look upon it, and behold, If the hair in the bright spot be turned white, and it be in sight deeper than the skin, it is a leprosy broken out of the burning. Wherefore the priest shall pronounce him unclean. There be no white hair, and the shall look upon him the 7th day. And if it be spread much abroad in the skin, stay in his place, and spread not in the skin, for it is an inflammation of the burning. If a man or a woman have a plague upon the head or the beard, then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow, even a leprosy upon the head or beard, and if the priest look on the plague of all of this, there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut him that had the plague of the scale 7 days. And in the 7th day the priest shall look on the plague, and behold, if the scale spread not, and there shade, and the priest shall shut him that had the scale 7 days more the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. And he shall wash his clothes and look on him, and behold, if the scale be spread in the skin, the priest.
All right, and then we'll answer anything you got. All right, but we're just, we have a reading that we're going through, the Sabbath morning reading. All right, so like I said, just raise your hand.
For yellow hair, he is unclean. But if the scale be in his sight at a stay,
His leprosy can go to where it goes from your skin to your full leprous wig. And that's what they get a lot of our sisters doing, and thinking that they hate this. Look at Sammy Sosa. Sammy Sosa went from a black, dark like you, that they show our people. You know, the Most High don't want that. So we gotta understand that that's not beauty. That's not beauty, and that's what they do on TV. They try to show our children, they try to show the women that this is beauty, being fake, being phony, to hate your skin, to hate your hair. So you gotta, you kids gotta be aware of what is beauty. Understand, you gotta take pleasure in your beauty. The white people. Because why? That's how our sisters, but it's like trying to look like them.
he is clean. And the man whose hair is falling off his head, he is bald. Yet is he is forehead bald. Yet is he clean.
Right. So now we're talking about being bald, right? Brothers thinking like, oh, you have to let the sides grow out, the George Jefferson. That, according to the law, to shave the sides and to do like he has it now, because he's already a bald man. So I think that's where, hey, don't laugh a bald man to score, all right?
Bald forehead, a white reddish sore. It is a leprosy. Look upon it, and behold, if the rising of the sore be whitish reddish in his bald head, or in his bald, the priest shall pronounce him utterly unclean. His plague is in his head. And the leper in whom the plague is, his clothes shall be rent, and his head bare. And he shall put a covering upon his upper lip.
There's certain customs, man, that we had, you know, and that's why Yahushua gave us the understanding of the law. See, because, you know, nobody's going to give us understanding about. All right? Go ahead.
Leviticus chapter B, verse 47. The garment also that the plague of leprosy is in, whether it be a woolen garment or a linen garment, wherein in a skin or anything made of skin.
Okay, so we're going to bring up the next reader. It was a leprosy. And now it brought some to my realization that you can even have it when you're bald. You know, you can have start getting those spots, a bald leper. All right, so let's bring up the next reader. Oh, yeah, sis.
Just, is it any different from?
Yeah, it's a clean leper. All right. Well, when you say clean, meaning like how he was asking the other day about, you know, as far as the blotches, and what is it wrong to get with somebody that has, you know, the blotches or leprosy, you know? And my response was, are they a clean leper? You know what I mean? Because you got that too. Like, let's say if you get with a woman. Is it bad to be with somebody? Well, full lepers, they're not contagious. Full, like it said, the redness, it goes deep to where it's a scab, and they're getting. So, but as far as you're an Israelite. The scriptures say you're supposed to be with an Israelite. Your people. That is, you know, but yeah, it's okay to be friends with her. Yeah. All right, John, Shabbat Shor, Yahweh Bun Yasha'Allah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatham.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatham. Okay, so what he's saying is, he's saying his name, and he's coming up and saying his tribe, what tribe he's from. So he's saying he's John of the tribe of Judah, the so-called Negroes. And then he says, Shabbat Shor, Shabbatah is tribe. Bun means son. Shal means of. Yasha. Okay? All right.
Leviticus chapter 13, verse 49. And if the plague be greenish or reddish, or in the skin.
For our garments, you don't want to get a garment with leprosy in it, you know, or an animal that has leopard skin. You know, you never know. That stuff can be contagious. You don't know.
And shall be shown unto the priest. And the priest shall look upon the plague, and shut up it days. And he shall look on the plague on the 7th day, if the plague be spread in the garment, either in the warp, or in the woof, or in the skin, or in a skin, or in any work that is made of skin. The plague is a fretting of leprosy. It is unclean. He shall therefore burn that garment, whether warp or woof, in woolen or in linen, or in anything of skin, wherein the plague is. For it is a fretting leprosy. It shall be burnt in the fire. And if the priest shall look, and behold, the plague be not spread in the garment, either in the warp, or in the woof, or in anything of skin, then the priest shall command that they wash the thing wherein the plague is, and he shall shut it up 7 days more. And the priest shall look on the plague, after that it is washed, and behold, if the plague have not changed its color, and the plague be not spread, it is unclean. Thou shalt burn it in the fire. It is fret inward, whether it bear within or without. And if the priest look, and behold, the plague be somewhat dark after the washing of it, then he shall rend it out of the garment, or out of the skin, or out of the warp, or out of the wool. And if it appear still in the garment, either in the warp, or in the wool, or in anything of the skin, it is a spreading plague.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt burn it that.
You know, we weren't just to you can't be sweating. You can't be a sweating priest up here just sweating and stinking and sticky. The Most High was about cleanliness. So that's where all this stuff comes from. You wouldn't, it's basically saying, listen, you pick up anything and wear kill skin shoes. Snake boots. We don't wear that because it's defiled. We are supposed to wear those things. But now here's a misconception. Could you don't wear a dog, but could you have a dog?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, we don't wear pig, but could you have a pig?
No.
Yeah, we had pigs. We just didn't eat them and wear them.
God.
We had them to clean up the slop of our farms. You see that? Because pigs eat anything, but you weren't supposed to eat them and wear them. A lot of people think like pig is a bad animal. The Most High created pig, but for its purpose. Y'all get that?
God.
You know, so we got to be clear of that. A lot of people think, well, I just got to stay totally away from a pig, and you can't touch it. Yeah, you can. The thing is that you don't eat it and you don't wear it. Y'all got that? Okay, go ahead.
Leviticus chapter 13, verse 58. And the garment, either warp or wool, or whatsoever thing of skin it be, which thou shalt wash, if the plague be departed from them, then it shall be washed the second time, and shall be clean. This is the law of the plague of leprosy, and a garment of woolen or linen, either in warp or woof, or anything of skins, to pronounce it clean or to pronounce it unclean. Chapter 14. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest, and the priest shall go forth out of the camp, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague of leprosy be healed in the leper, then shall the priest command to take for him that is to be cleansed 2 birds alive and clean, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. And the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed in an earthen vessel over running water.
Right. Now we know that we don't sacrifice no more. Yahweh Shai, Christ is our sacrifice. So all these little things in here, we're not going to get no turtle doves and what did it say? 2 birds. We're not going to do that. You know what I mean? Right now, what you going to do? You're going to pray over that brother. You're going to pray over that sister. That's all you're going to do. You know, you're going to look for herbs to heal that. You know, you're not going to go sacrifice any animals. Y'all get that, right? I know it's like, you're like, yeah, it should be common sense, but a lot of people don't understand that. You know, and our people, the Haitians, they be still sacrificing. You know what I mean? A lot of our Hispanic brothers and sisters, they deal with that brujeria, right? They be sacrifice animals and worshiping, doing all kind of madness. Yeah, I mean, cutting chicken heads off and yeah, what's up?
Jamaican sacrifice too.
Yeah, Jamaican sacrifice. Yeah, you're right. A lot of the West Indians, Haitians, really a lot of all the tribes except for the so-called Negroes, they ain't sacrificing none. You don't see them. Whatever they sacrifice, they eat. That's their sacrifice. They chicken. But yeah, a lot of these other tribes, though, we don't do that. All right, go ahead.
Leviticus chapter 14, verse 6. As for the living bird, he shall take it, and the cedar wood, and the scarlet, and the hyssop, and shall dip them and the living bird in the blood of the bird that was killed over the running water. And he shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from leprosy 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose into the open field. And he that is to be cleansed shall wash his clothes, and shave off all his hair, and wash himself in water, that he may be clean.
Right, so you get these times, man, where, you know, and I'm just throwing this in there, and as we read on, you'll see that there was times, man, where you did shave yourself bald, where you shaved off all your hair in cleansing and mourning. You would just, mourning time, baldness represented you were mourning, you know, if you weren't a natural bald. So those are the times where you have to really, like lice, right? I mean, nowadays you don't have to shave yourself bald. But back in those days, you'd probably zip, zip, zip to get rid of that. You know, so you see these instances where certain things were applied, but we didn't naturally walk around with bald heads. Like if you have a full set of hair and you shaving yourself bald, we didn't do that. You were bald by nature, or you were bald through, you were mourning, you were bald through, you see this instance right here, to where it was what, cleansing. Go ahead.
And after that he shall come into the camp, and shall tarry abroad out of his tent 7 days. Verse 9. But it shall be on the 7th day that he shall shave all his hair off his head, and his beard and his eyebrows.
Dang, you had to shave. That's a good one. I didn't know that. You had to shave your eyebrows too, huh? You know, but that's how you were pronounced clean. Go ahead.
Even all his hair he shall shave off, and he shall wash his clothes. Also he shall wash his flesh in water, and he shall be clean. And on the 8th day he shall take 2 he-lambs without blemish, and 1 ewe-lamb of the first year without blemish, and 3 tenth deals of fine flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, and 1 log of oil. And the priest that maketh him clean shall present the man that is to be clean. And verse 11. And the priest that maketh him clean shall present the man that is to be made clean, and those things before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
So you see that those were, now these were these like for the Most High to remove this from this individual, I'm going to go give something and ask the Most High to acknowledge my offering and to take away that. So what are we giving now? You're giving your spirit. You're giving prayer, right? You're giving a humble conscience, right? So, you know, mixed with the medicines. When you get sick and you get ailments, you know, you're not sacrificing a ewe lamb. You're praying, you're fasting, and you're humbling your spirit that the Most High take these diseases away from you, or illnesses or sicknesses. You're not sacrificing no more. Go ahead.
Leviticus chapter 14 verse 12. And the priest shall take 1 he-lamb and offer him for a trespass offering, and the log of oil, and wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. And he shall slay the lamb in the place where he shall kill the sin offering and the burnt offering in the holy place. For as the sin offering is the priest, so is the trespass offering, it is most holy.
Right, trespass.
Trespass offering, it is most holy. And the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. And the priest shall take some of the log of oil and pour it into the palm of his own left hand. And the priest shall dip his right finger in the oil that is in the left hand, and shall sprinkle finger, and of the rest of the right ear, that is trespass offering.
So all that was, yeah, all that was, it was the technicalities of what we did in the law, but we know the blood is Christ. We know the anointing is the Spirit. Shalom. So that's how we cleanse ourselves, right? But we know that was symbolic. Now we take on the anointing, which is the Holy Spirit, and Yahweh Shai, which with that blood of the Lamb would be. All right. Next, brother, right? The 17 of you in 13:49, 14 to 17. Okay.
Abayar, Shabbat Shaw, Yahawada, Ban Yashala.
Abayar, Shabbat Shaw, Yahawada, Ban Yashala.
Yahawah Shem Yahushai Brakatham.
Yahawah Shem Yahushai Brakatham. So he's reading from Leviticus 14:18 to Leviticus 14:45. And for y'all that are new to this, the portions of reading, okay, and we get through all these scriptures, we read them in portions. So that's what y'all are getting. But you're going to get the, majority of the Bible doing this. The lesson y'all supposed to be learning from these things, right, is detail. Y'all supposed to be looking, besides the obvious, right, how we deal with leprosy and how we deal with these things. But you figure, well, the blood on the toe and the big toe, we're not doing that, right? But you can see how that the Most High deals with very, very fine detail in the law. And that it wasn't played short, like it was a small thing. It was a big thing what the Most High did. And that's why coming to the priesthood and doing ministering, it's not a small thing or to be taken lightly. You put your spirit into it. Stop that. Go ahead.
Verse 18, and the remnant of the oil that is in the priest's hand, he shall pour upon the head of him that is to be cleansed. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord. 19, and the priest shall offer the sin offering and make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed from his uncleanness. And afterwards he shall kill the burnt offering. 20, and the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the meat offering upon the altar. And the priest shall make an atonement for him, and he shall be clean. 21. And if he be poor and cannot get so much, then and
that didn't have it. And that's the thing that a lot of these churches don't see, is like a lot of times people come in and need help and can't really give. And then our supply is for your want. God. What we have is for you. So, and then as you spiritually grow in areas in your mind, in your spirit, and then your life grows, then that want that you or that what you have will be for our want. In return, it'll be for the body's want. Y'all see that? And that's why giving your spirit and whatsoever you do it wholeheartedly unto the Lord. It don't matter what you do. It matters you are doing. It's got to be something. Y'all see that? And that's what the law is showing us. It's like, listen, this individual didn't have all that, but you got to do something. Y'all get that? Okay, go ahead.
Verse 22. And 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, such as he is able to get, and the one small be a sin offering, and the other a burnt offering. And he shall bring them on the 8th day for his cleansing unto the priest, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. And the priest shall take the lamb of the trespass offering, and the log of oil, and the priest shall wave them before the wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. And he shall kill the lamb of the trespass offering, and the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and put it on the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. And the priest shall pour the oil into the palm of his hand, into the palm of his own left hand. 27. And the priest shall sprinkle with his right finger some of the oil that is in, put the oil that is in his hand upon the tip of the right ear of that is to be cleansed, and of his the great hand he shall put upon the head of him that is to be cleansed, to make an atonement for him before the Lord. 30. And he shall make an offering, he shall make an offer of the one of the turtle doves, or of the young pigeons, such as he get. 31. Even such as he is able to get. For the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering, with the meat offered, and the priest shall make an atonement for him.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let me ask one of the children in here this. Why did we used to sacrifice animals? Because you're reading a lot of that. Shariah, talk loud.
To give our thanks to God.
To give your thanks to the Most High. Okay, what else, Tiano?
To ask for forgiveness for our sins.
To ask for forgiveness for our sins. So why don't we now sacrifice animals? Yeah.
Because Christ already came down for our sins.
Right. So Christ, he was the last sacrifice for our sins. But also, what was the sacrifice of animals supposed to do to us? Who knows? Like when you sacrifice a pigeon or an animal, what was that supposed to do? I want to see if the kids know. Yeah.
It's supposed to make you feel sorry for your sins.
It was supposed to make you feel sorry. Not get all into it. Not like you get your animals ready and make sure you got enough. You were supposed to feel guilty for killing them. You understand that? Con? Everybody?
Con.
So, of course, that's what you were going to say. The guilt. You're supposed to be guilty. Y'all get that? So, but we don't do that no more. I just wanted to throw that out there and see where y'all are at. Y'all are smart. Y'all are getting it. Go ahead.
And the priest shall make an atonement for him, that is to be cleansed before the Lord. 32. This is the law of him in whom is the plague of leprosy, whose hand is not able to get that which pertaineth to his cleansing. 33. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, When ye come into the land of Canaan, which I give to you for a possession, and I put the plague of leprosy in the house of the land of your possession, and he that owneth the house shall come and tell the priest, saying, It seemeth to me there is as it were a plague in the house.
What verse are you at?
35. I just finished 35.
Question.
Yeah.
That plague of leprosy that will be in the house, is that mold?
You're 13.
35. 14, 35.
Like black mold?
I mean, I haven't heard that. I never heard that it was mold. Because first of all, if we're going by the definition of leprosy, right? Even when it went to the animal skins, it was what? It was still white. So mold is black, right?
I was just asking, I was like, how can a house have a plague? I mean, a plague of leprosy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll look into that. I'll double check that. But according to what it was saying on leprosy, let's read on. Let's see. Let's read on.
Verse 36. Then the priest shall command that they empty the house.
Right.
Before the priest go into it to see the plague.
That
all that is in the house be not made unclean. And afterwards the priest shall go into see the house. 37. And he shall look on the plague, and behold, if the plague be in the walls of the house with hollow strakes, greenish or reddish, which in sight are lower than the wall.
So yeah, because now it's giving you what other colors that can be in there. So yeah, it might be a mold type of in the walls. It says green. What else? Green or reddish. Yeah. So yeah, you got this plague in your house. It sounds like it would be mold. Yep. Go ahead.
38. Then the priest shall go out of the house to the door of the house, and shut up the house 7 days. 39. And the priest shall come again the 7th day, and shall look. And behold, if the plague be spread in the walls of the house, then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which the plague is, and they shall cast them into an unclean place without the city. 41. And he shall cause the house to be scraped within round about, and they shall pour out the dust that they scrape off the city, scrape off without the city into an unclean place. 42. And they shall take other stones and put them in the place of those stones, and he shall take another mortar and shall plaster the house. 43.
What's so beautiful about this, though, I know some a lot of us read this with face value, and like just think about the leprosy, but you got to think about how the Most High was separating every unclean thing from us. You see that? That's why the scriptures say, Revelations 18:4, come out of her, my people, be ye not partakers of her sins, nor receive of her plagues. Because the Most High was about separating the clean from the unclean. So if you look at it even spiritually, you can see how the Most High didn't want these things in us. He didn't want them to be part of us. Even when we come to the Feast of Unleavened Bread, he says, cast out the old leaven. Right? So it's just showing you that the Most High wanted us to be clean physically, but spiritually also. You gotta, every time we read this law, you should be thinking of, hey, y'all back there. You should be thinking about the spiritual aspect about it. You know, as we're reading it, you should be thinking, what should I get from this spiritually also? Because we know we're reading the law and what's needed. And we know that if you go in a building and if there's mold through the building, what do you got to do? You got to get that stuff out of there. Right? But what is this spiritually showing us? That in your temple you can't have these ailments and spiritual defects, because what it's going to do is consume you and break you down. Go ahead.
Verse 43. And if the plague come again and break out in the house, after that he hath taken away the stone, and after he hath scraped the house, and after it is plastered,
what verse is it?
Verse
44. Verse 44. Then the priest shall come and look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the house, it is a fretting leprosy. In the house, it is unclean. 45. Of it, he that the house, all shall be unclean until evening.
Okay, next.
Ariyama 1, Shabbat Shalom.
1, Shabbat Shalom, Yehawadah, Bun Yasha'Allah.
Yahweh Shemiel Shai Brakatah.
Yahweh Shemiel Shai Brakatah.
Let somebody else get that out. Come on.
Hey, Tiana, in my bag right there with that chocolate. See the plug? Record? I got a long one.
Leviticus. You're going to read Leviticus. Where'd you stop at, Doc?
45 I stopped.
Okay, so Leviticus 14:46 to Leviticus 15:16.
Done. Here we go. When you got it? Done. Done. Leviticus chapter 14 and verse 46. Moreover, he that goeth in the house all the while that it is shut up shall be unclean until even. And he that lieth in the house shall wash his clothes. And he that eateth in the house shall wash his clothes. And if the priest shall come in and look upon it, and behold, the plague has not spread in the house, after the house was plastered, then the priest shall pronounce the house clean, because the plague is healed. And he shall take to cleanse the house 2 birds, and 2 cedar woods, and scarlet, and hyssop. And he shall kill the one of the birds in the earthen vessel over running water. And he shall take the cedar wood, and the hyssop, and the scarlet, and the living bird, and dip them in the blood of the slain bird, and the morning in the running water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. And he shall cleanse the house with the blood of the bird, and with the running water, and with the living bird, and with the cedar wood, and with hyssop, and with the scarlet. But he shall let go the living bird out of the city into the open fields, and make an atonement for the house, and it shall be clean. Verse 54. This is the law for all manner of plague, of leprosy and scald, and for the leprosy of a garment, and of a house, and for a rising, and for a scab, and for a bright spot, to teach when it is unclean, and when it is clean. This is the law of leprosy.
All right. Where you at now?
Chapter 15. It's chapter 15. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When any man hath a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue he is unclean.
So, now we're talking about bleeding. We're talking about any sexually transmitted issues or things from you. Sexually transmitted issues that come from you.
Clean run with his issue, or his flesh be stopped from his issue. It is his uncleanliness. Every bed whereon he lieth that had to wash his clothes.
Right. So the thing is this, that if a man, obviously you got an open sore, open wound, you're bleeding, you got a gouge in your skin, like this blood, all this is making you unclean. You weren't supposed to be around. So it's not only with the women, it's with the men too. The thing is with the women, you naturally have an issue of blood. Right? So that's why you're separated for 7 days. Well, with the man, it's saying also, if you had any blood or bruises or things of that nature coming and issuing forth your body, you got to be put aside. Because once again, you don't know how this is going to affect everybody around you. You don't know if it's contagious. Y'all get this? Right. You know why I put it like that? Because the same law for the man is for the woman. It don't lessen the women. It's the same rule. Y'all get that? The Most High is not a respecter of persons. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And he that sitteth on anything whereon he sat, that hath the issue, shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in the water, and be unclean until even. And he that toucheth the flesh of him that hath the issue shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until even.
Yeah. So you get these people, man, you're on the bus with them. You get into the pool with them. You know what I mean? They have all these issues, and this is where all these ailments come from. Because people got these things and don't say nothing, or they don't separate themselves and get over it first. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And if he that hath the issue sit upon him that is clean, then he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until even. Verse 9. And what saddle soever he rideth upon that hath the issue shall be unclean. Verse 10. And whosoever toucheth anything that was under him shall be unclean until the even. And he that beareth any of those things shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until even. And whomsoever he toucheth that hath the issue and hath not rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his clothes, bathe himself in water, and be unclean until even. And the vessel of earth that he toucheth, which hath the issue, shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed in water. Verse 13. And when he that hath the issue what was that?
Verse 12?
Verse 12. No, verse 13.
Okay.
And when he that hath the issue is cleansed of his issue, then he shall number to himself 7 days for his cleansing.
And so y'all see that number a lot also in the scriptures, 7. 7 was like a number of completion for us, right? The Most High completed the earth in 7 days, right? So 7 was the number of completion. You'll get that in Hebrew. In Hebrew lingo, the number 7 just meant completion. So that's why you hear 70. How often shall you forgive thy brother? 70 times 7, right? So you hear this.
And come before the Lord unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and give them unto the priest. And the priest shall offer them, the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord for his.
Go ahead.
Go out from him. Then he shall wash all his flesh in water, and be unclean until the even.
Right. So when a man lays with a woman, he was supposed to be answer questions if y'all got any. If nobody has any questions, we're going to touch over some Hebrew. All right. And then get into that a little bit. So if you do have any questions, prepare them, because after he reads and I read, we're going to conclude the reading. Okay? It's not working.
This is Leviticus chapter 15 and verse 17. And every garment and every skin whereon is a seed of copulation shall be washed with water and be unclean until the evening. The woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean until the evening. And if a woman have an issue, and her issue and her flesh be blood.
Right, so y'all note this if you want to know why, according to the Bible, a woman was supposed to separate herself on her menstrual cycle. This is the scripture to prove that. Y'all should be writing this down, young ladies. Mawula. Y'all need to have these scriptures. Because people ask, well, why do you do that? Why? What are you talking about, separate yourself? What are you talking about, unclean? Well, because she has blood flowing from her. You know what I mean? The blood is unclean. And I don't want to make you sound like you're filthy, but it is that you are unclean when you have this blood flowing from you. Because having accidents is like embarrassing. Huh? Yeah, it's not good. So this is the scripture showing you that why the women are put aside when they have their menstrual cycle. Yeah.
I also got another one. Leviticus 18 and 19.
Come. Leviticus 18 and 19. Oh, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Go ahead and read it. Just read it. Where you write it down. Read. He's going to read it real quick.
Leviticus chapter 8. Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 19. And thou shalt not approach a woman to uncover her nakedness, as long as she is put away for her uncleanliness.
Right. Right. So you can write that one down with it. That a woman was put aside for 7 days. So y'all see where we get in this from. We get it from the law. And of course we know that a lot of these laws, you know, you can't be put outside of your house for 7 days. But to know that you are unclean, to know that you got to take care of yourself, be set aside, you know, you got to have that knowledge. All right? So go ahead.
Leviticus chapter 15 and verse 19.
Go ahead.
And if a woman have an issue, and her issue of her flesh be blood, shays, and whosoever touches her shall be unclean, and everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean. Verse 21. And whosoever toucheth her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe him. That she sat upon shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water.
And this is where we get into the technical parts of the law that it shows, brothers and sisters, where we got to be spiritual. You know, in the ancient days, you would literally put this woman away. So we talk about this, and we're striving for perfection in all the laws. And don't try to make yourself the righteous person, or you're the sole law keeper because you don't eat pork and you keep the Sabbaths. Because there's a lot of laws you do break and you don't even understand. But not saying you don't keep the law, but reminding you to be humble and try not to judge and act like you're the sole survivor keeping of the law. It don't work like that. You got to be humble enough to know that everybody we're striving for perfection to try to keep these laws in this wicked society. So yeah, you're great at keeping the Sabbath law. You're great at not and things like that. You can keep that. But here's a law that you don't keep on point. You know what I mean? My wives are like, I had to kick everybody out, you know, of my house. So this is just to humble you, get your mind right, keep you in a humble perspective to know that you got to humble yourself. Who's taking y'all? Okay. All right, so go ahead and read on.
Verse 23. And if it be on her bed, or in anything whereon she sitteth, when he toucheth it, he shall be unclean until the evening. Verse 24.
You see how serious this was? That anything she touched, she sit on, is unclean. So you got to understand that we're trying our best to keep these laws. In the kingdom, guess what? She's going to be set aside in a whole nother house. You know how we read earlier? It says in an unclean, you take the stuff out in an unclean place, like a junkyard. You would take all that stuff from the house. You take that out in this junkyard of uncleanliness. Well, she had a house that where when she would be in that house, you know, that self-ego that you uplifted yourself in the law. Be humble and know that we're striving for perfection. Keep striving. Keep getting better. And if you're a millionaire, buy your rib a $1 million house or a shack.
Before Leviticus chapter 15 and verse 24.
Right.
And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him.
Right. Meaning you're laying with her and then a mistake happens. Right. Her day is not yet, but then you lay with her and then her flowers.
he lieth shall be unclean.
Go ahead.
And if a woman have an issue of her blood many days out of the time of her separation, or if it run beyond the time of her separation.
So 7 days she's supposed to be separated, but it goes 8 days. Go ahead.
All days of the issue of her uncleanliness shall be as the days of her separation. She lieth, all the days of her issue shall be unto her as the bed of her separation.
Now, we know some women don't have a full 7 days. You're sure it's gone, right? And if it goes over that, obviously your body's saying, okay, you need some more time to cleanse yourself, to be clean. Our people, man, they having sex right after the women get pregnant. Like, but they do it. They're having sex with them on their menstrual cycle. They don't have no standards. So there's got to be a standard. No sex on her menstrual cycle. Period, point blank. Yeah, but they do it. I mean, Esau, it's filthy. But we learned that from the nations. Go ahead.
And whatsoever she sitteth upon shall be unclean.
Right.
As the uncleanness of her separation.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 27. And whosoever toucheth those things shall be unclean, and shall wash her clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the evening. But if she be cleansed of her issue, then she shall number to herself 7 days. And after that she shall be clean. And on the 8th day she shall take unto her 2 turtles, or 2 young pigeons, and bring them to the priest, to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for her before the Lord for the issue of her uncleanliness. Verse 31. Thus shall he separate the children of Israel from their uncleanliness, that they die not in their uncleanliness, when they defile my tabernacle that is among them. This is the law of him that hath an issue, of him whose seed goeth from him, and is defiled therewith, and of her that is sick of her flowers, and of him that hath an issue, of the man, and of the woman, and of him that lieth with her that is unclean.
Right. So we got that? All right, respond, man. I'm trying. All right.
Cover.
It's saying, but it goes like blood on the toe. You know what I mean? Right now, you're not. So we're jumping over the 7. 2 Kings 7 and 1 down to verse 13.
Then Elisha said, Hear ye the words of the Lord, thus saith the Lord. Tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, in the gate of Samaria. Verse 2. Then a Lord on whose hand the king leaned answered the man of God, and said, Behold, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, might this thing be? And he said, Behold, thou shalt see with thine eyes, but shalt not eat thereof. Verse 3. And there were 4 leprous men, and the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit still here, we die also. Now therefore come. And we were come to the outermost part of the camp of Syria. Behold, there was no man there. Verse 6.
Right, because when you go back in the last chapter, when you go back in 6th chapter, Samaria was hit. Syria was hit with a famine. The Syrians were struck blind, and Samaria was hit with a famine. Okay, so that's what we're coming on. We're reading about right now. What was going on in what was going on with the Syrians, not Assyrians, but the Syrians. Go ahead.
Verse 6. For the Lord had made the host of the Syrians to hear a voice of chariots, a noise of chariots, and a noise of horses, even the noise of a great host. And they said one to another, Lo, the king of Israel hath hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to come upon us. Wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight, and left their tents, and their horses and their asses, even the camp as it was, and fled for their life. Verse 8. And when these lepers came to the uttermost parts of the camp, they went into one tent, and did eat and drink, and carried themselves silver and gold and raiment, and went and hid it, and came again, and entered into another tent, and carried thence also, and went and hid it. Then they said one to another, we do not well. This day is a day of good tiding, and we hold our peace. If we tarry till the morning light, some mischief will come upon us. Now therefore come, that we may go and tell the king's household. Verse 10. So they came and called unto the porter of the city, and they told them, saying, we came to the camp of the Syrians, and behold, there was no man there, neither voice of man, but horses tied with asses, tied, and the tents as they were.
Right. So just to give you a little synopsis, in the last chapter, the king of Assyria warred against Israel, and they took counsel with his servants, saying, in such a place shall be my camp. That this is 6 and 8 and 9. It says, and the man of the Most High sent unto the king of Israel, saying, beware that thou pass not such a place, for thither the Syrians are come down. So this is what's going on. You got Israel warring against the Syrians. Okay? Go ahead. Read on.
Verse 11. And he called the porters, and they told it to the king's house within. And the king arose in the night and said unto his servants, I will now show thee what the Syrians have done to us. They know that we be hungry. Therefore are they gone out of the camp to hide themselves in the field, saying, when they come out of the city, we shall catch them alive.
Right. So the Most High cursed them with a famine. He's like, okay, now we're going to set them up. Being that they're going to come out, they're going to try to run out and get food. We're going to get them. Go ahead.
And get into the city. Verse 13. And one of his servants answered and said, let some take, I pray thee, 5 of the horses that remain, which are left in the city. Behold, they are as all the multitude of Israel that are left in it. Behold, I say, they are even as all the multitude of the Israelites that are consumed. And let us send and see.
Right. I'm going to read from verse 14 on down. They took therefore two chariot horses, and the king sent after the host of the Syrians, saying, go and see. And they went after them unto Jordan, and lo, all the way was full of garments and vessels, which the Syrians had cast away in haste. And the messengers returned and told the king. And the people went out and spoiled the tents of the Syrians. So a measure of fine flour was sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, according to the word of the Lord. And the king appointed the Lord, on whose hand he leaned, to have the charge of the gate. And the people trode upon him in the gate, and he died. And the man of God had said, as the man of the Most High had said, who spake when the king came down to him. And it came to pass, as the man of the Most High had spoken to the king, saying, 2 measures of barley for a shekel, and a measure of fine flour for a shekel, shall be tomorrow about this time in the gate of Samaria. And that the Lord answered the man of the Most High, and said, now, behold, if the Lord should make windows in heaven, might such a thing be? And he said, behold, thou shalt see it with thine eyes, but shalt not eat thereof. And so it fell out unto him for the people trode upon him in the gate, and he died. So the prophecy of what like I said, when you read back, the prophecy of what Elisha said was going to happen came to pass, and the Syrian king was overthrown. Okay? I'm jumping over to John 6, verse 8 down to verse 13. Then I'm going to read Matthew's 8, verse 1 down to verse 17. And that's going to conclude the reading. And if you have any questions, have them prepared. If not, we're going to go into to Hebrew. Oh, the kids left too. We might have to. Dang, I wanted him here for that. All right, John 6, verse 8 to 13. John 6, verse 8 to verse 13. 6 and 8. One of his disciples, I'm going to read from verse 1. After these things, Yahushua went over the Sea of Galilee to follow him, because they saw his miracles, which he did on them, deceased, right? And Yahushua went up into with his disciples, and the Passover saw a great company come unto him. He said unto Philip, when shall we buy bread that they may eat? And this he said to prove him. And he himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 pennyworth of bread is not sufficient for them. That they did this with your house. You know what I mean? But who was always proving them? Why would Philip have to prove him? What we just read? That Philip, all these people were there in Christ, and Philip was like, well, we got all these people to feed, and we don't have enough money. Right? But it said, Philip said it to prove him. Why did he say that? Who knows? You know? Y'all don't get it?
Well, I thought Yahushua had said it to Philip to prove him.
Verse 5. And when Yahushua lifted up his eyes, he saw a great company come to him. He said unto Philip, when shall we eat? When shall we buy bread that these may eat? And thus he said to prove it. Correct. I'm sorry. So Philip, Yahushua was saying it to Philip. Still the same thing. Why was Yahushua saying this to Philip? Yeah.
To see where his faith is at?
To see where his faith was.
Mm-hmm.
Why was he always putting this out to these men and throwing things out there to them? To prove their faith, to see where their mind stands in their belief. He himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 pennyworth of bread is not sufficient. So Philip is coming with that doubt. But what would Yahushua do all the time? Go ahead.
He was slowly getting rid of the doubt.
There you go. Yeah. He was slowly putting them in predicaments to get rid of the doubt within them. And reminding them, you're doubtful. Like, I already know what you're thinking. I already know it's not wrong to prove a man and to show him, hey, this is why you're doubtful. You got to be put in this predicament to prove your faith. Urging, spewing from you. Why? Everything predicament you're put in, you second question. There's nothing wrong with proving you. Scriptures say prove a friend. So we're always looking and seeing. Remember, the scriptures say you're under tutors to the time appointed. So a lot of times you're around brothers that see certain elements in you. Because a lot of times that doubt is coming in and you're like, well, why do I got to do it that way? Why this? Why that? It doesn't matter. Obey them that have rule over you, as long as it is in righteousness. It's not wicked or compromising your spirit. You see that? So what is it also showing us? That a lot of time you will doubt. And you won't know, and you won't see. You won't see it. So a man of faith has to lead you to show you, like Moses did Israel. You won't see it all the time, and you're not going to see it. That's why the priest is supposed to show you and say, hey, look at here. The only thing you have to have is the element of humility to follow. Go through your checklist. Is this compromising my spirit? Is this breaking my manhood? Is he beating me, robbing me, stealing from me? Do your little carnal checklist. And when you got that out of the way, humble yourself and say, wait a minute. I don't see it, but this is going to teach me something. Right? God? What?
That's kind of like, you know how they say hindsight is 20/20?
Right.
It's like if you just go through the motions and go ahead and just do it.
Right.
When you sit back and meditate on what you did or what you went through,
right.
It's like, yeah, now I see why I had to go through that.
And usually that happens with the brothers in the body. That happens with the righteous men and women in the body. You come back and say, dang, God, you know what? Man, today I didn't see what you were saying, but the Most High just showed me that what you were saying this was on point. The Spirit, and then you start talking about what the Spirit added to you. But if you don't move in faith, you will never learn nothing. Y'all see that? If you try to always look at why your elder or why the sisters, your husband is making you do something, and if you don't see it feasible, you reject it, you're never going to learn nothing. As long as that brother ain't saying, yeah, baby, go sell crack for me on the corner. Hey, brother, bend over. Hey, brother, go mess with whores or go sacrifice to gods. Then you're supposed to be saying, okay, then why is this brother having me do this? Because it's teaching me something that I don't know. Y'all get that? I just wanted to point that out, man, because it was a very good point that how Yahushua dealt, and that when you get dealt with like that, it's not foreign, wrong, or wicked for a brother to constantly prove you and to build your faith. All right, so I'm at verse 7, and 50 penny worth of bread is not sufficient for them, that every one of them may little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, saith unto him, there is laid here which have 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish. But what are they among so many? And Yahushua said, make the men sit down. Now there was much grass in the place. So the men sat down in number about 5,000. And Yahushua took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he dispersed, and the disciples to them that were set down, and likewise of the fish as much as they would. I'm reading to verse 13. And they were filled, and said unto the disciples, he said unto his disciples, gather which remained over and above unto them that had eaten. So we see that it was a trial. It was Yahushua showing them about their faith. It wasn't that the apostles always lacked, that he was constantly trying to show them faith. Y'all lack faith. He says when he was walking on water, it was about what? Faith. But how do you try somebody's faith? Follow and believe that the Most High, most of all, is not going to let them down. Y'all get that? So I'm at Matthews 8:1, and wants me to jump over to Matthews 8:1 down to verse 17. Yeah.
On that verse 12?
Yeah.
Where he says, gather up the fragments that there be nothing left.
Yeah.
Be nothing lost. Was that symbolizing anything, or?
Well, what do you think? What's on your mind? Because, I mean, it doesn't go into that.
Oh, just wondering.
No, I mean, it didn't add anything to that.
Okay.
You know, that was just literally, listen, I was going to gather this up because what I'm going to do now is show you what we had, right? Because remember in the other parables, the same thing that's repeated, they gather them all up and are like, wait a minute, how did we feed all these people?
We had more left over than
right,
we started with.
Exactly. So that's why it was gathered up, because what he was doing was, okay, let me show y'all how you lack faith. So that's what that was about.
Okay.
Okay, Matthews 8:1 down to verse 17. When he was come from the mountain, great multitudes followed him, and behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And Yahushua put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Yahushua said unto him, see thou tell no man, but go thy way, show thyself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded, for a testimony unto them. So, we're learning out about a few things here. Once again, that Yahushua had to come back and clear this leprosy that we all learned about. But we also learned that Yahushua followed the law. You see that? He followed the law. So you get these Christians and people talking about, oh, the law's done away with. Christ followed the law. But he did it with understanding. You get that? He followed the Sabbath. But when they came and tried to check him on eating corn and healing on the Sabbath and all these things he was doing on the Sabbath, he did it with understanding. He did the law with understanding. He kept the fast, Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, first fruits. He kept the commandments. So this is one of that he didn't keep the law. And when Yahushua was entered into Capernaum, a centurion beseeching him and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Yahushua said, soldiers under me. And I say to this man, go, and he goeth, and to another, come, and he cometh, and to my servant, do this, and he doeth it. When Yahushua heard it, he marveled, and said unto them that followed, Verily, verily, I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you, that many shall come from the east and the west, and sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So that's another. The other time is when he killed. When he healed the Syrophoenician's daughter, right? And he said, because of this saying, thy daughter is healed. So you know, a lot of times the Most High, Yahushua was doing things and reminding Israel what? Y'all faith is not there. It's not up to par. And that's why a lot of y'all, excuse me, that a lot of you, a lot of the children of Israel, you're not going to make it into the kingdom because you lack faith. Y'all see that? So, I'm reading to verse 17. And Yahushua said unto the centurion, go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And his servant was healed in the selfsame hour. And when Yahushua was come into Peter's house, he saw his wife, mother laid, and sick of a fever. And he touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she arose and ministered unto them. And when even was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils, and he cast out the spirits with his word, and healed all that were sick, that that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, Himself took our infirmities and bare our sickness. Okay, so any questions on that? That's going to conclude the reading. I mean, how bad is the internet connection? Did anybody have any questions?
No questions online.
No? Okay, yes. Whoever is online, sorry about that. We're having internet issues for y'all or whoever did stick with us. So, let me see here. Anybody got any questions in here? Nothing? Nothing? Okay. All right. What we're going to do, we're going to hold out on the Hebrew till everybody gets here. We got a slim class. We're going to hold out till next time. Yeah.
It's off the topic.
Yeah.
What you think about the Rocket Man stopping his missile program?
I was thinking about that, man.
He already got his missiles. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That he already got his missiles, and he's playing the political game. And he knows that where they got their missiles hid, if they do let inspectors come in, they're not going to find them. I think that's really what's going on with that.
I think he was just,
he's talking about Kim Jong in North Korea. Yeah.
He was just testing them just to irritate Trump.
Yeah, I don't think that's real, man. This dude, unless, you know, I don't know, they humbled him in some way.
And another question. Did you know a doctor named Jennifer Daniels?
Jennifer Daniels?
Yeah, she got kicked out of the United States back in the 90s for treating her patients with turpentine.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it was curing them.
It was curing them?
Yeah. She tested it on herself first. She took like a teaspoon, put it with sugar, a cube of sugar. And she wrote
turpentine.
Yeah, she wrote it out. She wrote out.
Be careful about that.
Yeah. No, she was curing her pay. That's why she got kicked out of the United States, because the insurance company was calling her, threatening her, and the government was getting on and all.
Really?
Yeah. She's staying in Panama. She's staying in Panama now.
Wow. Yeah. Turpentine is dangerous, don't you?
Well, it's dangerous to a certain extent. It's poison, but she took it herself first for months.
Yeah.
And it said cured everything.
I didn't know about that.
What kind of disease you talking about?
Yeah.
It cured rheumatism, arthritis, it cured all disease. You know, all kinds. Yeast infection, all that.
You know, anytime we put that out there, we gotta be careful. And I'm saying do the research.
Yeah.
I'm saying do the research. You know, whatever. Cause turpentine.
No, I ain't saying nobody used it, but I'm just saying she took it herself first.
She took it herself, yeah. And you know what though?
She went to Harvard research, I think it's Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Harvard.
You gotta, I mean, getting the information and checking things out, you know, before you do anything. But Dr. Sabi, he did a lot of those things with natural herbs, and you know, let me ask this: what is turpentine?
It's some kind of like a cleansing agent.
Yeah, that's why. Look that up real quick. I mean, just on what we're talking about. We're just having a conversation.
She asked her patient, the older patient.
Yeah.
She asked, what your grandmother used to use. And some guy told her, my grandmother used to use turpentine to cure everything.
It's like a stain remover.
A stain remover?
Yeah.
What is turpentine?
But it actually says turpentine. It says a volatile, pungent oil distilled from gum, turpentine, or pine wood.
Yeah, that's it.
Used in mixing paints and varnish.
Turpentine that you get out the hardware store.
Shit. You gotta be careful. Gotta be careful with
But it got
that.
to have pure gum on it.
What's her name?
Jennifer Daniels.
Yeah, and you gotta be careful. I mean, do your research. We just don't want brothers taking turpentine, and then they, you know what I mean? they think it's a David Koresh type of deal. You know, drinking the syrup.
It says it's from a tree.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, wait, no, he looked her up right there. It's a Judaism.
She says a fountain of youth, able to cure many elements.
It was curing everything.
That's scary.
Took our care, paid all the bills.
Damn, you don't see that? Well, listen, like I said, I don't know I'll have to look it up, but it just seems dangerous to me. Seems like I take that, I'll never wake up. Potent way, I wasn't diluted. Yeah, that's. Yeah. I mean, we just having a conversation. That ain't book. We just talking.
But like, you know, like it's like how the scriptures talk about just finding that balance. In
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because even with the herbs, like the brother was talking about the hyssop, he was using a small amount, and that
yeah,
and it had that effect.
Yeah, I was using.
They were killing about.
Any.
She tested on herself first.
Yeah, you got, and that apple cider vinegar that can cure a lot of stuff. You know, I've been using that for 15 years now. Apple cider vinegar, oh yeah, that go hard. You know, for a lot of stuff. My son gets he gets bad eczema. He gets bad allergies, and all I do is dump the apple cider vinegar in the water, put his face in the bowl, and he clears it up. He actually carries a little liquid to school so he can shoot it and rub his eyes with it because it clears it up. So yeah, there's a lot of natural things like that, but I know this, when you take it too much, apple cider vinegar, the vinegar, it tightens up your joints. At one time I was drinking a lot of it, like I would put it just in my water, and it started getting my joints tense. So, you know, you can do extreme, so I'm not saying that it don't help, but knowing how to use these things is very important. Because, you know, I'm going to say this too. You can't always listen to what and why and how the white man uses things. So I get it. I get what you're saying. But because they take a lot of these natural things and turn it into chemicals. So I can see it from that standpoint. But if you look at if you look at what they're putting on there, you got to be careful with all that stuff, man. We don't want brothers and sisters taking a teaspoon in that and then waking up in the fourth dimension, talking about ISB, HBK, said drink turpentine. We're just talking here, just for the record. This is just brother just talking about it, because nah, don't. I wouldn't suggest that. I would do a lot of studying on that. Yeah.
Like I don't know what's.
And I'm saying that for you, too. I know you read it online, but you know you got to do over. Like she said on the thing, it says ingested as poison, because that's what the first thing I thought. Turpentine, you know, like you drink that, you done. What?
Oh yeah, I was looking into that too, like putting it like on a sugar cube or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's what he's talking about. Oh, you know about that too?
Yeah, yeah.
That's my first time hearing about that. That's.
But it's in songs you can hear, like you'll see like turpentine, like a lot of slave films, but yeah, like even in the military.
Okay.
They say turpentine.
Hey, like I said, this is my first time hearing about that. Maybe I need to do some research on it. You know, like I said.
Must have been doing something because she was using it on her patient.
If anything, I would use it naturally.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to the. No, he's saying the actual one from you get the hardware store.
Yeah, hell no, I wouldn't do that. I'd get the one with the white label with the G on it.
Yeah, the natural one.
Talking about Pure Gold?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, see, that's probably the natural, not the one in the hardware store.
Okay, you mean like the thinner for paint?
Yeah, not the paint thinner. You're not talking about that. You're talking about probably the natural turpentine.
Yeah, they got natural. No, there's people that actually use the one from the hardware store the same way.
Dang.
Yeah, same way.
Not me.
That's the one she was using.
Yeah, I believe
it. You heard that Dr. Jennifer Daniels?
Yeah, I was looking into it.
Oh yeah, how long y'all were looking into that?
For a good while. She has
so this is old?
Yeah,
she got kicked out the country back in the 90s.
Yes.
Dang, back in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, hey, I wouldn't take the one at the hardware store, but I would go get the natural herb.
They sell natural.
You got the natural herb. You got the oil.
Yeah, it's the sap or something like that.
I think it cost about $16, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it like that.
You said she's in Panama?
Up in the mountains.
They
say it costs a different than Panama.
They got
Real
Skype
cheap.
her. They
Huh?
Skype her. All they do is Skype
Yeah.
the interview.
Yeah, that was she
like
said.
that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, something to look into.
Does she have a website or what?
I
She has
think she got
literature
a
online.
website you can catch on YouTube.
Well, he put her up. He just put her up on Google.
She
So,
science-based
and they do that too. You know, they did that to Dr. Sabi. They ran him out of the country when he said he could cure AIDS. And so I can see that, but I'm just saying that I wouldn't do the hardware one. I would go look up the natural herb one. You know, because they take the herbs and dilute them with all the other stuff that's gonna kill you in there.
So it comes from a tree.
Yeah.
It's from a pinewood tree.
Yeah.
It's the gum of it.
It's the gum of the pinewood tree. Okay. Turpentine.
It's been around. Other reports.
But the natural herb, not the paint thinner. The paint thinner? Not me. Anyway, all right. Is that it? Any other questions or anything we want to talk about? Nothing? Anything online? Okay. Sorry about the connection for y'all that are online. Hopefully we'll get this cleared up, and then Monday we will have class again. We're gonna wait till more brothers and sisters get here because we're missing some of them for the Hebrew. Yeah.
Someone said, love the lessons, and I've been studying and following, working some things out so that I can start coming back to class faithfully. Just pray for me and family.
What's the name on there?
It's Queeet.
Okay. Well, whoever you are, brother, Rakatay Hawa, glad to hear that classes are helping you out. We pray for every brothers and sisters everywhere. So we'll keep you in our prayers. All right. There's a few brothers. Fred, I've been talking with Fred. Y'all remember Fred, right? Yeah, he's doing good now. So doing a lot better, sounding a lot better. So the Most High's bless him. He's been watching class also too. He said he can't get up here now, but he's been watching. So it's good to hear. He was in a rough case, so it's good to hear him doing good. So So let's salute them online. Say shalom, y'all.
Shalom.
We'll see y'all Monday. All right. Let's finish up the rest of the prayers.
But it's not as bad. It's not a child.
Look, you got the boss's car. That just supervise the car.
Zoom around.
You're not delivering nothing they mad.
No, I got it.
He left.
No, actually, Colorado. But then, same thing happened in Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now playing.